Hey friends, Gary here. Welcome to today's video. As some of you guys might already know, I'm a Micro Four Thirds camera lover. I really enjoy shooting using Micro Four Thirds. However, my preference is always on the older, smaller, lighter cameras and lenses. A few years ago, Panasonic Lumix launched a camera called the Panasonic Lumix G100, and back when it was launched, I hate that camera. Surprise, surprise! I think it doesn't deliver its promises as a content creator camera. Also, the G100 was missing some key features that could highlight the benefits of using a Micro Four Thirds camera. At that time, Micro Four Thirds was already known as a good alternative camera system for people who are looking for a smaller camera for travel and also for everyday hybrid camera, meaning that it's going to be used for both still photography and for video. And what people want is just basically a new camera that has in-body stabilizer, it has face detect autofocus, mic jack, flip screen, new sensor, and of course affordable price. Unfortunately, the G100 missed some of these key features that people want, so I don't really give too much thought about the G100 and kind of dismissed it. However, some years have already passed and I started to get curious, especially with the recent camera releases, the new OM5 Mark II, the new Fujifilm XM5, XE5, all of those new cameras, and the G100 starts to look attractive again, in my opinion. I got curious, I bought one, and I found one with a really good price. So yeah, I started using it. In fact, right now I'm recording this video using the G100 with the Panasonic Leica 9mm f1.7. And the question is, do I still hate it? Was the G100 able to change my mind? That's the burning question, and I will answer this question in this video. So let's find out more. First, I want to begin by talking about why I hate the G100 so much back then. I'm sorry G100, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I just want to be honest so you guys can learn from this total honesty. So back then, the G100 was released as a content creator camera. In fact, it was released almost at the same time as my Sony ZV-E10, this guy right here that I usually use to record my YouTube videos. And the thing with the G100 is that, again, as a content creator camera, we expect this camera to be able to be used for scenarios like vlogging, which was very popular back then. People will walk and talk using the camera to get better image quality, especially compared to just using their phones and stuff like that. And with walking and talking vlogging, the challenge is always stabilization, and that's why in-body stabilizer is quite important. And the problem is G100 is missing in-body stabilizer. Continuous autofocus was also a problem. The G100 only uses contrast detect autofocus, not face detect autofocus, and that creates some sort of worries among people, especially who want to use the G100 for walking and talking vlogs again, because continuous autofocus will be very important. Sometimes you'll be very close to the camera, sometimes you'll be very far from the camera, and you need the autofocus to just perform flawlessly. Otherwise, you need to tinker with the camera settings, and that is not optimal for run and gun vlogging style video. However, right now, I'm using the continuous autofocus on the G100. Surprise, surprise! This is the face tracking continuous autofocus. Let me try to go closer. Let me try to go further away from the camera. Does the continuous autofocus track? Another big problem with the G100 was the price when it was released. I don't know if it's because of COVID or because of some other stuff that are going on in the world, but it was very expensive, especially here in Indonesia where I live. And that's kind of sad because over here I have my Panasonic Lumix G85, a camera that is a class above the G100 in my opinion, because it has in-body stabilizer, it has weather sealing, better manual control, better grip and handling, better customization, more dials, more controls, and it can do more than just what the G100 can do. And this guy is cheaper, significantly cheaper. I can get this for about 500 or 600 US dollars, not that much money. And the G100 was priced at about 1000 US dollars. That's just too much for a camera like this in my opinion. Well, granted, the G85 has a older 16 megapixel sensor. However, the difference in terms of image quality between the two, which we will get on later on, is not really that significant. So yeah, price is a big issue. However, with the recent releases of newer cameras such as the Fujifilm XM5, OM System OM3, OM5 Mark II, those kind of stuffs, now the G100 starts to look attractive, surprisingly. I mean, it has pretty much the same essential common features with these newer cameras, but the price is relatively more affordable. Plus, these last few days, I kept seeing videos from Emily from Micro Four Thirds, hey Emily, and also from Marcus Pix as well, and they talk about the G100 not as this serious content creator camera, but more like a everyday camera, something that you would just put inside of your everyday bag and then you go out with it, take some pictures on the field and have fun with it. Now that really resonates with me. Now when you start to shift your perspective of the G100 from being a content creator camera into an everyday camera, everything starts to click, and now the G100 starts to sound really attractive. And after that, I started to hunt for a good G100 in great condition and great price, and finally I got one. Anyway, let's move on and quickly talk about some basic specification and key important features. The G100 has a DSLR style body, meaning that it has that viewfinder hump in the middle of the camera for the electronic viewfinder. So it almost looks like my G85 but smaller. However, unlike my bigger and heavier G85, the G100 is actually small and lightweight. That's a very big plus for me because, again, as I mentioned earlier, I prefer cameras and lenses that are smaller and lightweight. Next feature is that the G100 has the newer 20 megapixel Micro Four Thirds sensor without anti-aliasing filter. We will talk about image quality and I will share some sample photos later on. It also has flippy screen, very important for me because I also use this camera to record videos like what I'm doing right now, and also for vertical landscape photography composition. And it also has an EVF that is bright, beautiful. It's like watching a high definition movie using that viewfinder. The G100 also has good manual control. It has plenty of dials and buttons that you need to be able to change some settings, exposure setting, aperture, shutter speed, that kind of stuff. That is very important for me. Compared to my older Panasonic Lumix Micro Four Thirds cameras, this one has a slightly newer menu system. It's a little bit different from what I'm used to, but it's still easy to understand the menu system. It's not complicated and you can go to the desired setting quickly enough. Next important feature of the G100 is the microphone jack. That's very important for me who needs to use the camera for video recording, because that means I can use better microphone, external microphone that can give me better sound quality. Now the G100 was also marketed to have that better built-in microphone using the Ozo system from Nokia or something like that. But honestly, using external mic will still give you a significantly better sound quality. Now the G100 was missing, again as I mentioned earlier, in-body image stabilizer, but it does have electronic stabilization that works only for some select lenses. But yeah, it still cannot replace a true mechanical in-body stabilizer. We will talk about the e-stabilization a little bit later on. Build quality of the G100 I think is more than good enough. It feels quite solid and robust in the hand. I don't think this is an all-metal build quality because they want to keep the weight down, and I much prefer that. And it also doesn't feel as flimsy as my smaller Panasonic Lumix GX850 or the GF9 right here. So now I want to show you guys a little bit of size comparison of the G100 with some other Micro Four Thirds cameras that I have in my current collection, so that you can get a better idea in terms of dimension and stuff like that. So yeah, this is the G100 by itself. Currently, I'm using the Panasonic Leica 9mm f1.7 on this camera, and all of the lenses that I will feature on the other cameras will be somewhat similar to the size of the Panasonic Leica 9mm, so that you can get a better idea about the comparison. Let's start with my biggest camera, the Lumix G85. So this is the size comparison. This is the thickness comparison between these two, and also the rear layout between these two cameras. Let's move on with the GX8. So this is the front size comparison between the GX8 and the G100. So thickness comparison like so, thickness from above, and also the grip size, and also from behind like so. Let's move on with the Panasonic Lumix GX85. Now the GX85 almost has the same size as the G100, but one interesting thing is that the GX85 is heavier, significantly heavier. You can feel it on your hands. I think it's because the GX85 still has in-body stabilizer, while the G100 no longer has in-body stabilizer. Thus, it can save a little bit of weight. Thickness comparison, from above. Next camera is not really a Micro Four Thirds mirrorless interchangeable camera, but it uses Micro Four Thirds sensor nevertheless, and it's my LX100. It's almost the same size as the G100 except for that viewfinder hum. It's almost the same length, almost the same thickness, but without the grip. And from the side looks like this, and then from behind it looks like this. And now my smallest camera in my collection, which is the GX850 Panasonic Lumix, or also known as the GF9. Here's the side-by-side comparison. The length, definitely GX850 is smaller, lighter. Thickness, definitely is G100 is thicker. And then from behind, the layout of the control. Now I want to compare the G100 with another camera from different format that has similar function, quote-unquote content creator camera. Over here I have my Sony ZV-E10. This is an APS-C camera, so it has larger sensor compared to G100's Micro Four Thirds sensor, but these both are marketed as content creator camera. Let's take a look at how they differ in terms of size. So in terms of length, almost the same. Thickness from the top, also almost the same. Thickness from the side, almost the same as well. Grip, well, yes, the grip on the ZV-E10 is actually slightly deeper, making it slightly easier to handle larger lens. But when we're talking about lens, obviously the APS-C lenses will be larger compared to Micro Four Thirds lenses. So yes, this is how they look together. In terms of weight, the G100 is ever so slightly heavier when you're talking about just the body itself without the lenses. Once you start to put lenses, so both are using the kit lenses right now, and as you can see, the G100 lens, the 12 to 32 kit lens, is much smaller and lighter as well compared to the Sony ZV-E10's kit lens 16 to 50. So yeah, that's still the benefit of Micro Four Thirds, smaller and lighter lens. Now I would like to do a little bit of a fashion show with the G100, showcasing how it looks with my favorite lenses to use with this particular camera. So first of all, the Panasonic Leica 9mm f1.7. This is my favorite lens to use with the G100. This is how it looks with the G100. Now this is the Panasonic Lumix 14mm f2.5. Here's how it looks with the G100. It's very compact, very small, almost flush with the body. So yeah, excellent for a small camera like this. With the Panasonic Lumix 20mm f1.7, this is how it looks. Slightly wider, but it's still thin enough, almost flush to the body again. Feels very compact and nice together with the G100. With the kit lens 12 to 32mm, without the lens retracted, it looks like this. Very compact, very nice, very small. Also great combo. This is how it looks with the lens, extended. Zooming in, zooming out. It feels very balanced and compact at the same time. With the Panasonic Leica 15mm f1.7, this is how it looks like. Also looks great. I think this is also a great combination. So this is how it looks from the top, from the front. It looks balanced and it feels right at home as well. With my favorite mini telephoto lens, the Panasonic Lumix 35 to 100mm f4 to f5.6. This is how it looks. Also feels very balanced and right at home. This is how it looks from the side. And then when it's extended to 35 to 100mm, looks like this. From the side, looks like this. Right, feels right. It feels so balanced, really nice. With the super zoom lens 14 to 140mm f3.5 to f5.6, the first version Panasonic Lumix super zoom, here it goes. Still feels very nice, especially with the grip of the G100. Just feels right at home. And this is how it looks from the top. This is how it looks from the side. From the front, still feels okay. It doesn't feel imbalanced or front heavy or anything like that. Now with the Olympus 75mm f1.8, here's how it looks. Still feels very balanced, surprisingly, especially with this grip. Everything becomes very comfortable, even with larger lenses like this. It doesn't feel too much front heavy. Still okay, still good to handle. Now, just for fun, this is how the G100 looks with my largest Micro Four Thirds lens, which is the Panasonic Lumix 100 to 300mm f4 to f5.6. Now it starts to feel weird and imbalanced, but you can still hold it just fine. I mean, not a big problem. It just feels weird in my opinion. This is how it looks from the side. This is how it looks from the front. The top-down view like this. When it's zoom out all the way to 300, it starts to look ridiculous. Now it's time for us to talk about the image quality of the G100. And to do that, let me share some photos taken using the G100 so that you can see for yourselves the quality of these images. But speaking about image quality, it's going to be the showcase of the 20 megapixel sensor on the Lumix G100. My only experience of using 20 megapixel sensor before the G100 was using my Panasonic Lumix GX8. The sensor on the GX8, however, has that anti-aliasing filter, while the sensor on the G100 doesn't have the anti-aliasing filter. So in theory, the pictures taken using the G100 will look sharper compared to the ones taken using my GX8. Other cameras besides the GX8 and G100 that I have are currently 16 megapixel sensor. However, all that I can say is that the difference in terms of image quality between all of these cameras are very minimum. I mean, I can see something different with my G100. The pictures look a little bit more contrasty compared to my other Lumix cameras. But again, this is something very marginal and you have to really nitpick to really see these differences. However, it's safe to say that I am satisfied with the image quality of the G100. Everything is very sharp, contrasty, detailed. Dynamic range is very acceptable, more than good enough for my everyday photography application. Now let's talk about usage experience and performance of the G100. Now right away I want to say that image quality isn't the highest priority when it comes to my camera preference. Yes, of course, I want a camera that can take great pictures, but other than that, I also want my camera to be fun, enjoyable, and inspiring. If I want a camera that takes really good picture, then I will not be using Micro Four Thirds. I will be using either medium format or full frame camera, not Micro Four Thirds. And I can definitely say that G100 is fun, inspiring, and just enjoyable to use in the field. First thing that makes it enjoyable is the front grip. The G100 is a small camera, and as with all other small cameras, grip is very important because otherwise, without proper grip, holding your camera will be a challenge. And now that front grip on that G100 is just so nice, chunky, beefy, makes holding larger lenses easier with this small little camera. Now, continuous autofocus still suffers, especially for still photography and also for video in general. However, face tracking actually now works. So again guys, right now I'm recording this using the continuous autofocus face tracking, and I think so far it did a great job, but please let me know otherwise. What do you think on the comment down below? Even though continuous autofocus in general still sucks, what's great about the G100 is the single autofocus. My goodness, it's just so fast, so precise, and very reliable. So for stills photography and even for video, if you don't require continuous autofocus, I can really recommend the single autofocus of this guy. Another important thing about the G100 is the fast boot time. I mean, you can just turn on the camera and start shooting right away. Unlike some other cameras, for example, my Sony right here, it takes a good few seconds to boot until you can start to press the shutter button and take some pictures. That's just too slow. So cameras like my G100 I think is perfect if you are doing run and gun situation, whether it's photography or video. Now I want to show you guys a little bit of vlog samples recorded using the G100 so you can see the performance of this camera for walk and talk vlogging. So pay attention to things like the continuous autofocus face tracking that I mentioned, and also stabilization and cropping. Anyway, if you want to see more of me vlogging with the G100, please check out my second channel up here somewhere. I forget where the cards are, but on that second channel, I will frequently feature the G100 for vlogging. So I'm currently outside testing the vlogging capability of the G100 with the Panasonic Leica 9mm f1.7 lens and Rode Wireless Go. So I just handhold the camera, no tripod whatsoever. How's the stabilization doing? And let's do a little bit of continuous autofocus test with the face tracking capability. Let me move closer. Does it still track my face? And let me move it back again. Does it still track my face? Let's do back and forth, back and forth. How does it perform? Still the same vlogging test with the G100 and Leica 9mm f1.7, but right now I'm using the high E stabilizer, so it crops in a little bit more. What do you guys think? I think the combination of G100 and the Panasonic Leica 9mm f1.7 is perfect for vlogging, but with the high stabilization enabled, is it too tight for vlogging? Let me know in the comment down below. In my own opinion, I think the high stabilizer works really well to stabilize walking and talking footage like this. So I think the G100 could be into something here. It's very lightweight, it's very compact, especially with the Panasonic Leica 9mm lens. But I still think that this is a little bit too tight. I think I still prefer the standard E stabilization. It's a little bit wider because the Panasonic Leica 9mm is supposed to be wide, but you get a little bit of shake, especially if you walk really quickly. But for me, it's not really a big problem. So let me switch back to the standard stabilization. back with the standard stabilization. Yes, you get a little bit more shakes as you can see on the video right now, but I still think it is tolerable. But now at least I get wider field of view when I'm walking around. When I'm traveling, I can show more of the environment. I think that is much better than just using the high stabilization, but you crop a lot and you cannot really explain what's happening in your surrounding. Now I want to share my final thoughts of using the G100 so far for almost 1 month. And right away I can say that back then I was being unfair to the G100 because the only times I got a chance to try the G100 was when I was visiting camera stores. And at the camera store, yes, you can take some pictures, but you cannot truly analyze what the G100 can do. You cannot go out into the field and take pictures with it and understand its strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, I'm very sorry, my G100, I was not being fair to you. Now going back to my original question, do I still hate it? Was it able to change my mind? And now after using it extensively on the field to take pictures, using different kinds of lenses, I can finally say, yes, I now love the G100. Not only that, I think the G100 also manages to stay relevant even today in 2025 when this video was recorded. With all the newer camera releases, I think this can still provide plenty of values for everyday photographers, hybrid shooters who are looking for a smaller but capable Micro Four Thirds mirrorless camera. No, it is still not a content creator camera in my opinion. That title still goes to something like my Sony ZV-E10 or my DJI Osmo Pocket 3. But again, for everyday hybrid shooter, this provides plenty of values and it is actually making a lot of sense. It is not only a capable camera that can produce great image quality, it is also very fun and enjoyable to use as well. The ergonomics feel good, the camera feels very tactile, the grip really helps you to comfortably hold the camera, the buttons, the dial position, everything like that makes a lot of sense. The camera is also compact and lightweight, and it inspires me to just bring this camera out and take pictures and have fun doing photography. What I want to say is this: don't be so quick to judge a book by its cover. Meaning in terms of camera, don't be so quick to judge a camera by its marketing tagline. Give it a chance. Don't just use it in the store, but try it out in the field. See if you can find its strengths and weakness and maximize its fullest potential. By doing that, you can truly understand whether this camera is for you or not. I'm sorry guys, in the past I've been doing this judging a camera by its cover thing, and I regret it because I should have tried the G100 first and some other cameras that I mentioned in my channel. My mistake, I apologize to you about that, and this is a very precious lesson for me to try a camera before I say anything about it. But I still truly hope that someday Panasonic will release the G100 Mark II with face detect autofocus and of course in-body stabilizer while keeping the size, weight and price relatively the same. That will definitely blow up. Bam! And that wraps up today's video. So that is all of my thoughts and experience of using the Panasonic Lumix G100 so far. Hopefully this has been interesting, entertaining, inspiring and useful. And definitely if I found some new interesting things with my G100, I will update you guys in the future. Anyway, now let's have a little bit of discussion. I'd like to hear your thoughts as well. So let's have a chat on the comment down below. Do you have a Lumix G100? And if you do have a G100, what's your experience of using that camera? If you don't have it, what's your current favorite everyday camera? Let's have a chat in the comment down below. I'd love to read your comments. Also, don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to my channel down below. And if you want to support my work even further, consider using the affiliate links on the description below. Use the super thanks button to make a small donation to my channel. Visit my second vlog channel, I will put the link on the description below as well. Or purchase my travel photography ebook called Simplifying Travel Photography. I think you guys will like it. Link also in the description below. Thank you, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.